story. When I was 21, I decided I wanted to try and become a wrestler. I watched it growing up. I went to the Coliseum on Monday nights, and when I saw Power Pro Wrestling on Channel 5, I thought Memphis Wrestling was back. So I mailed a letter to Channel 5 and I just said, hey, does Power Pro Wrestling have a school? I'm interested. 21 years old, about 185 pounds, right at 6 foot tall. And they sent me one response real quick, which I never even expected a response. And they said they do have a wrestling school, and it's actually ran by none other than Bill Superstar Dundee. So a week later, I go over to the studio. I meet Bill Dundee. Well, they give me his phone number, contact information. I call him, speak to, at his time, his wife, Samantha, who used to be a wrestler also. She gave me all the details, especially the money part. So I go meet them. And then within a matter of a month, I was driving to Jackson, Tennessee every Wednesday night to go to this training school, which was located in the back of a Taekwondo school over in a strip mall. And Bill Dundee was there, Derek King was there, Naughty by Nature Rude was there. It was a handful of people. Lance Jade was there, Blake Boudreaux was there, Trey Keller was there. I had all these hands in helping me learn from day one. Most of the guys fell to the wayside, except for Derek King. I'd say hands-on. He probably taught me more about this wrestling business than anybody else. But I mean, that going in with Derek, that's a whole nother story. You know, that could take hours, and we don't have that kind of time. But Derek King probably contributed to my beginning of becoming a professional wrestler more than anybody. 18 years I've been doing this, and I've had some good moments, and I've had some great moments. My favorite moments are probably, I've worked for the WWE on a number of occasions. I'm on one of the D-Generation X DVDs. I've done dark matches with them. I've done extra security gigs, whatever they needed done. I've worked for the WWE several times. I wrestled in the Mid-South Coliseum, and I made it to Channel 5. Those were my 3 goals when I first started, and I accomplished everything. So the day that I say this is it, I have nothing to, I don't have the what if. That's done. I've answered the what if. I did it. But on top of all of that, my biggest thing is competition. And so I've been in the ring with some of the biggest names in the professional wrestling business. And when I can go into a ring with a legend or a superstar, and I can go hold for hold, and I can go move for move with those guys, that's my favorite times. That proves that all the hard work and all the effort is actually worth it. You know, all the time away from my family, all the money spent on hitting the roads and beating up my car, just running it ragged, and going to the gym and just getting as big and as strong and as tough and as fast as I can be. All of that time and all of that effort is actually worth something. It paid off, because I can step in the ring with a Chris Masters and beat Chris Masters. I can step in the ring with a Carlito and beat Carlito. I've beaten Bill Dundee. I've beaten everybody I've stepped in the ring with. There's nobody I've ever faced that I don't have a victory over. So that is my favorite thing. Like I said, I'm all about competition. I take this extremely seriously. This is me. I am a professional wrestler, and to me, I'm one of the best ones out there. Well, here, growing up in Memphis, everybody wants to be a star in Memphis. If you watch Channel 5, you watch the Lawlers, the Dundees, the Valiants, the Jarretts, you watched all these people. You want to be not them, but you want to be on that same level one day. And there was a stint where Memphis wrestling just wasn't quite there, and so when I heard that Marvel Elite Wrestling was opening up, I decided that, now's the time. The torch will never be passed. It never will be. We all know that. But now's the time I light my own torch. So I walked into Marvel Elite Wrestling and I made an impact from day one. And that was my goal. I'm going to walk in here and I'm going to make a name for myself. There's a lot of fans that still, after 18 years in the Memphis area, probably do not know who Alan Steele is. That's just the nature of the beast. But if they come to one Marvel Elite Wrestling event, they'll leave knowing exactly who I am. And so I walked in because I heard the competition was there. I heard the athletes were there. And like I said, I'm all about competition. And as you can see, this little pretty thing right here, amongst the elite, I reign supreme. You want to know what my motive was? There was one. How better to strategize for a guy than to be right there behind him every step of the way. I can watch every move he makes, every inclination that he does. I can tell you that if Derek King looks to his right, what he's going to do. If Derek King looks to his left, what he's going to do. I know I've got his playbook. So, yeah, I backed him up. Because I knew at the end of the day, when all was said and done, that all I was doing was making it easier for myself. And I don't know if you were there and you saw the title match between Derek and myself. It's pretty one-sided. I could counter everything he threw at me. I could block every super kick. It didn't matter what he tried. I topped him. And I beat him right in the middle of the ring. Dominated him for most of the match. Nobody's beaten Derek King the way that Alan Steele's beaten Derek King. And here's the thing about Derek King. Great opponent. But he didn't do anything for Marvel Elite Wrestling. You didn't have people lining up for title shots when Derek King was the champion because they didn't take him serious. Derek smiles and he prances and he dances, and that's, hey, that's Derek. But as soon as the title came around my waist, there was phone calls, emails. I mean, heck, it might have been some messenger pigeons. I mean, people from Nashville, Illinois, all across the country wanted to come to Marvel Elite Wrestling because they wanted to see if they could step in the ring with Alan Steele and last. And nobody's done it yet. See, that if word, that doesn't really have a place with me. You can ask if with anybody else. You can ask if Chris Lex will make it to the 27th, to the House of Madness. You can ask if Reno Diamond stands a chance to beat Tattoo. But you can't ask if Alan Steele will remain the Supreme Champion of Marvel Elite Wrestling. It's when. It's a 4-letter word. And it's one of the good ones. Because see, my plan never changes. I listen for my music. I walk through the curtain. I step through the ropes. And I beat my opponent. It's pretty explanatory. It doesn't. And granted, I'm not giving away secrets. Do I have a strategy for Chris Lex? Absolutely. That started months ago. And every piece is just falling right where it's supposed to be. So on March 27th, at House of Madness, I'll complete my puzzle. And I will leave still the Marvel Elite Wrestling Supreme Champion. Cameraman, I want you in here tight. Get in here. I want right here. Because I want Chris Lex. I don't want there to be a confusion. I don't want there to be he say, she say. This is directly at you, Chris Lex. Chris Lex, you've got everybody in your corner. Every fan, every friend, every family member. You've got celebrities coming March 27th for House of Madness because you know good and well this is the biggest night of your life. You said it 13 years ago. I was the first real professional wrestler you ever stepped in the ring with. Yeah, you started out with a bunch of scrubs. You started out with a bunch of fake and wannabe wrestlers. But when you stepped in the ring with Alan Steele, you knew it was a whole different ballgame. I remember the day, Chris Lex, when your mother came up to me and told me that I was your favorite wrestler. That you wanted pictures to be taken with me. You wanted my autograph. And you think for some reason, just because a little time has passed, 13 years have gone, that now you can step in the ring with me and beat me? Chris Lex, I'm the only guy that's knocked you unconscious in a wrestling match. I left you laying. You were counting the lights every time we step in the ring together. And you think for some reason, you think that something's changed? And at House of Madness, you're going to leave with the Supreme title? Well, you got another thing coming, pal. Because I've got the game plan. I'm not a wrestler you're going to face, Chris Lex. I am the wrestler. I am the Memphis Mauler. I'm the Tennessee Brawler. I am the full-time beast. I am the Marvel Elite Wrestling Supreme Champion. After the dust has settled and the 3 count has been counted, there will be one guy standing and one lying. And the announcer will say, and still, your Marvel Elite Wrestling Supreme Champion, the full-time beast, Alan Steele. So let's bring everybody you got. Bring all your friends, your foes, your family, and your fans. Because you're going to need all the backup you can get. And you can bring 100, 200, 300, it doesn't matter. Because the more you bring, the harder I'll try. And I will leave with my hand raised, Chris Lex. 13 years later, it's the same story. I'm better than you.
Going man to man at Evo, you don't stand.